Democrats and the media have shown themselves time and time again to be despicable gaslighters, liars, and manipulators as they dog whistle to their minions across the country.
But then you also overnight have this post claiming that protests at Tesla dealerships are illegal. He said today he would label violence against dealerships domestic terrorism. Now, you know I am judicious in how I play this sound, but I think you need to hear it from him.
Mr. President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. Let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
So just to be clear, you protest a private company, you are labeled by this administration a domestic terrorist.
She just twisted Trump's words in real time in front of everyone with no ambiguity. She isn't even attempting to add an opaque gloss to hide her manipulation. She and her audience knows that isn't what Trump said. This is MSNBC openly supporting this violence. No surprise there. Just more of the same in a long list of similar gaslighting the media has been conducting for years. Here is the famous footage of another MSNBC host attempting to gaslight the American people.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started.
This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly. Some fires have been set. Like the ones behind you, asshole. Here's your fellow violence apologist speaking in their bizarre doublespeak.
And Laura, what you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night. A second night since Jacob Blake was seen shot in the back 7 times by a police officer. And what you are seeing now, these images came and come in stark contrast to what we saw over the course of the daytime hours in Kenosha and into the early evening, which were largely peaceful demonstrations in the face of law enforcement. It wasn't until night fell that things began to get a little bit more contentious. Things were thrown back and forth. Police started using some of those crowd dispersal tactics like tear gas, even playing very loud sounds to push them out. And then what you are seeing, the common theme that ties all of this together, is an expression of anger and frustration.
Things began to become a little bit more contentious, this guy says, with a chevron across the screen saying, fiery but mostly peaceful protest after police shooting while buildings burn in the background. And obviously the media has been engaged in this for a long time. Look at this famous footage here.
I think they said, take a look at what happened.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold on, your head is bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. My shoes.
Watch out.
Yeah, the media sure does have a funny way of putting things. Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. The Washington Post, Trump escorted away after loud noises at Pennsylvania rally.
I want to say there was one thing that when I watched the tape I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said, fight, fight, fight. I think what we're hearing from people is that's not the message that we want to be sending right now. We want to tamp it down.
Isn't it disgusting how they try to downplay persistent, organized attacks against an American car company in an attempt to stop the reformation of our filthy government? Isn't it disgusting how they try to say that violent riots are peaceful while buildings burn down behind them? Isn't it disgusting how they try to tell us that the attempted assassination of our President Trump was him falling down or his speech being interrupted by loud noises? And while these gaslighters actually have the balls to try to lie to our faces and dog whistle to their hateful minions, rioting, attacking, murdering, and trying to destroy our nation, these hypocritical, pathological liars try to tell us that January 6th was worse than 9/11, Pearl Harbor, or even the Civil War.
Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
The president has been very clear. January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
The 1/6 attack for the future of the country is a profoundly more dangerous event than the 9/11 attacks. And in the end, the 1/6 attacks are likely to kill a lot more Americans than were killed on the 9/11 attacks.
You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery.